Talking up the economy by talking down the scandals?
Endless parade of distractions and political posturing and phony scandals.
We need to put behind us the distractions and the phony debates and nonsense.
Fake scandals, some phony scandals that have captured the attention of many here in Washington, only to dissipate.
The phony scandals that have consumed so much attention here, all to come to naught.
The president today pivoting to jobs as the White House tries to pivot away from scandals that it claims are fake and phony. But will it work? Why Brett's not grinning and bearing this, and why the Donald isn't either. They are here. Welcome, everyone. I'm Stuart Varney, and for Neil Cavuto, this is Your World. And the president today taking aim at what he calls phony scandals, as he tries to turn attention to the economy with several highly publicised speeches. But can he just wish the scandals away? Special reports Brett Baer with me now. Was it a successful pivot? Was it a strong enough speech to get that pivot going and get away from the scandals?
Well, Stuart, I think that remains to be seen. It was definitely a long speech. It definitely had a lot of different points to it, and it sounded, frankly, a lot like some of the speeches President Obama gave on the campaign trail back before the election in 2012. If you took this speech and you put it back there in a different context, it would roughly fit right in. He was very accusatory to Republicans up on Capitol Hill, while he said some Senate Democrats are working with him on some issues. Overall, he castigated the House Republicans and said they're standing in the way. It was very political, very partisan. And as you mentioned, he tried to say that these are all phony scandals, something that Jay Carney at the White House has said all week long.
Brett, you have been very much involved in these scandals, IRS, Benghazi, spying. What's your reaction when that harsh expression, phony scandals, fake scandals, when the president says that, what's your reaction?
Well, I don't think that many people across the country buy that with a blanket statement the White House can just walk away from some of these things that are still being investigated pretty vigorously. You go down the list, and the list is actually growing, not shrinking, about investigations that this White House is now dealing with, and this administration, I should say, is dealing with. The IRS scandal, and we can effectively call it that, because anytime you have the IRS targeting a political ideology based on words or phrases, Democrats will point to the Be on the Lookout list that included progressive groups and liberal groups, but there aren't that many aggrieved groups in that category stepping forward and saying they were actually affected. You have this investigation that now goes to the chief counsel's office of the IRS. That's still ongoing. We're just learning things this week about that. And I think if you look at most polls, no matter how much the White House or the president says it, people in large numbers across the country believe that they are scandals.
Right about the time of the speech, or just before, it was announced that F-16 jets from the United States would not be going to Egypt as planned. Now, what do you make of, is there some significance to that now that the army has taken over in Egypt?
Well, I'll tell you this. There is a lot of reaction all over Capitol Hill and, frankly, all over the Middle East. I talked to one senior diplomat from a Gulf state, an ally, who was really concerned by this move, saying it sends a signal to the Muslim Brotherhood on the streets in Egypt that essentially the administration was pulling back from the new interim government that is being set up. In other words, this diplomat saying the administration did not stop the flow of aid when President Morsi was ripping up the Constitution in Egypt or dissolving the Supreme Court in Egypt, but it is stopping the aid when this new interim government, albeit put in by the Egyptian military after millions of Egyptians took to the streets, it is pulling back the aid now. So it's a debate up on Capitol Hill as well.
All right, Brett Baer, thanks very much indeed. We will see you on Special Report at 6 tonight. Thanks, Brett.
All right.